So Mississippi's next legislative session starts on Tuesday, January 7th, and like most years, it'll probably be fast and furious. And there's still a sizable gap between lawmaker priorities and voter priorities. Let's dig in. And real quick, if this app does go away this month, you can still follow me and get these kind of stories over on the tube. Just search for my name. So this past October, a survey was done of Mississippi voters asking what their top priorities were for the state. And here were those results. And the number one issue by far was economic. Overall, we want to stop paying high prices and we want to keep more of our hard-earned money. We don't get paid a lot here in Mississippi, so we want those dollars to stretch as far as they can. Beyond that, the priorities basically were fixing Mississippi's crime problem, giving us back our ballot initiative, expanding our access to healthcare, and making sure that our schools and our infrastructure were properly funded. All of which makes perfect sense to me. We want to have a better quality of life here, and we want to have more of a voice in how the state is run. The question is, do our voter priorities match up with our lawmakers' priorities? And the answer is, sort of. Tax cuts are on the table, but the question is, which ones? The Mississippi House and the governor want to eliminate our personal income tax, which would likely benefit wealthier Mississippians the most. Meanwhile, the Mississippi Senate wants to go after our grocery tax, which would be a tax cut that would impact all Mississippians. Medicaid expansion is certainly going to be a priority again this year, with both the House and the Senate saying they want to get it done. Essentially, expanding the program would use federal dollars to give health care to an additional 200,000 Mississippians, but it's going to be an uphill battle. Governor Tate Reeves has again said that he is entirely against it and will veto it every chance that he gets, saying he doesn't want Mississippi to be a welfare state. We also may just lose the option entirely if the incoming Trump administration does stick to their initial proposal of cutting funding for the Affordable Health Care program. Regardless, this issue is probably going to be a very loud and a very public fight. PERS, Mississippi's state retirement program, got a lot of attention, but a report that came out this summer found that all the changes that they made did essentially nothing to help with the dwindling fund problem. So expect that battle to continue as well. As far as schools go, lawmakers have to come up with $38 million just to match the new budget that they introduced last year. They've also indicated that programs such as school choice, charter schools, and school vouchers are also on the agenda. As far as the ballot initiative goes, my gut tells me we'll see a lot of lip service to it, but we won't see any action. Again. A lot of lawmakers have said that this is a priority for them, but I haven't seen a whole lot of chatter about bringing it back, despite this being one of the main things that we, the voters, have asked for. Realistically, I'll be surprised if the ballot initiative comes back while Governor Tate Reeves is still in office, as he refuses to sign it unless there are a lot of strings attached. And if either Shad White or Lynn Fitch step in as our next governor, then I imagine it might be 4 to 8 additional years before we have a chance to bring this back. There's a chance we could see it come back under Delbert Hosemann if he becomes our next governor, but again, I'm not holding my breath. At the very least, I hope that they at least bring it to the floor for a vote so that we can see which of our representatives actually support it. Now, there is some good news, as lawmakers are going to have to address some issues with representation during this session. Lawmakers are going to have to address some of the ways that our districts are drawn up after a federal court found that Mississippi was intentionally diluting the power of the black vote in the state by how our districts were drawn. So that is going to be a priority for our lawmakers, whether they want it to be or not. And then there are a few priorities from individuals that raise a few eyebrows, such as ones from this individual here in DeSoto County, who says that one of his agenda items is creating a bounty hunter program to track down illegal immigrants and banning social media for kids under 13. And while not a lawmaker, Auditor Shad White has put forward his list of agenda items for this year, including eliminating all state-sponsored diversity programs. And he says that one of his intents for this year is to go after government spending with a chainsaw based on a report that he had commissioned earlier last year. A report which, by the way, we purchased from a Boston firm for $2 million taxpayer dollars, and according to attorney Lynn Fitch, that may not have been entirely legal. So, altogether, we have some priorities that kind of match up with the voter priorities, some that are near misses, and some that are just pure politics. But as the legislative session gets underway and they start proposing ideas to address these priorities, the question we as voters have to be asking is, who benefits from their proposals? And more importantly, who doesn't?